Hey there folks, it's Rob with MTG Investor, and I'm back for my Modern Top 25 investments. It is April 13th, and today we're going to look at cards number 11 through 15. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, number 17 and above I'm really big fans of, and without further ado, let's get started here. Alright, number 15 should come to no surprise to people. We have Snapcaster Mage. Have regular and foil listed. If you don't have the money to spend on foils or the cards to trade for foils, then stick with the regular ones. They're good investments. So let's take a look at the stability. The stability rating I have on them is 8. It's really high, 8 out of 10, because Snapcaster is a staple in the modern format, and it is a staple in the legacy format, and it is also occasionally played in the vintage format. And so Snapcaster is you can't go wrong with Snapcaster. I mean, it's a solid, stable card. As far as reprint on that card, I don't foresee that happening unless they revisit Innistrad, of course, and even then I think it's unlikely it's going to get a reprint. It's definitely eventually going to pop up in a Modern Masters. Not going to pop up in the Modern Masters 2015. I think they already announced that. Innistrad will not be available for reprint for that. But if there's another Modern Masters in 2 years, in say 2017, then I think it's extremely high probability it's going to see a reprint in that. However, I don't think they print enough Modern Masters for it to be a big deal. I know that the first Modern Masters, there was a small print run, and they say they're going to print a lot more for the Modern Masters 2015. However, I'm still a little bit skeptical on the cards from Modern Masters moving the price values of reprints down, because Modern Masters is a highly hoarded set, meaning people buy it and sit on it. People like me will buy boxes or cases of it and just sit on it. And so there's going to go a large percentage of it is going to go sit in closets and basements and back rooms of stores unopened, and many players will do the same. So we'll cross that bridge when we get closer to that this summer. But the growth potential on it, I have it at 6. I probably could crank that up to probably 9 on there, because it's going to be a card that people are going to come into the format when they learn how to play Magic, or people that come back to Magic, or people that start learning it. They're going to want to get a hold of Snapcaster Mage, because there's a lot of decks in Legacy and Modern that you need Snapcaster Mage. Now Snapcaster is played in Twin, and even if Twin were to get banned, Snapcaster would still be a heavily played card in Modern. It doesn't rely on one particular deck. That's one of the great things that make it so stable, is that it doesn't rely on any deck at all. There will always be a deck that can be made, created, invented now or in the future. Even if the format warped into a total combo format or a total turbo aggro format, there will eventually come a time where Snapcaster would swing back into favor. So it is a really good long-term hold. I don't see it going down at all unless somehow the market got flooded with them, and I don't see that. Now, the one reason I have the growth potential kind of low on Snapcaster is because Snapcaster was really good in the standard format, and he was highly played, and there was a ton of them that nobody discarded it. Let me put it that way. From the very first day of pre-release Snapcaster, I bought a Snapcaster from a friend of mine. I gave him a $20 bill for Snapcaster he opened at the pre-release, because I was like, this card is going to be an amazing long-term investment. And so my friend's like, sure, here. So I count that as a great investment, because right now the current price of Snapcaster is $40, so I doubled my money. Anyway, the current price is $40. Now, a few things I want to talk about on this current price. I bought another playset of Snapcaster Mage about, I think it was about a month ago, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I paid $32 for the playset. $32 each for the cards. It's already moved up to $40. I really wish I could have had this video out to you guys like 2 months ago, or even 3 months ago, because a lot of the cards that I have on my list have already moved quite a bit. You could have got in at a lower price. But still, I think Snapcaster is a really good buy at $40. And I'm going to tell you some shocking things about Snapcaster in just a second, or some very hot opinions about them. But on the $40 price target, like on the big box websites, for instance, I'm not going to mention the name, but one of them has Snapcaster going for $55. The buy price is $55, $56, and it's sold out there. Because there's places in the world where, you know, Snapcaster is not available unless you order it online, or maybe eBay is not available. But anyway, on eBay you can get them for $40 to $42 still right now. If you buy on eBay or if you trade, it's really important that you get mint copies of Snapcaster, because there were so many Snapcasters that were played in Standard. There are so many Snapcasters that are played in Modern and Legacy that there's a ton of light played, somewhere, you know, excellent condition, like cards that are not near mint. Now you can, on eBay, you can get Snapcasters for $36, $38, but there have some blemishes on them. This is one of those cards where you want a mint condition card, basically an unplayed card, because there is a world where Snapcaster is going to go through the roof. And the difference between, see, right now you're saying I'm going to say $4 and get Snapcaster at $36 instead of paying $40. But let's say there's a world where Snapcaster hits $200. Well, your mint copies are going to be $200, but that copy that you paid $36 for, it's only going to be like $150, $160. So you're costing yourself right now. You're trying to save yourself $4, but later you're going to cost yourself $40. So you don't want to do that. You want to get mint copies. And like I said, there's a lot of copies of them, but the mint copies, there's a lot fewer because they're so heavily played cards. If you play them, double sleeve these bad boys. Get you some perfect fits and double sleeve them, because here's my hot opinion. I think there is a very good chance that Snapcaster becomes the most valuable card in Modern. I think there's a good chance that it's going to eclipse Tarmogoyf. Or Liliana, there's so few cards ahead of it, like Dark Confidant and whatnot. But anyway, I think there's a world where Snapcaster, the regular version, is a $200 card. Tarmogoyf is the most valuable card in Modern right now, $200, and you see Dark Confidant's like around, you can get them for $50. Liliana's $90-ish, but I think Snapcaster is the best creature that's legal in Modern right now. If Deathrite Shaman were legal, I'd stick Deathrite ahead of it. But in Modern right now, I think Snapcaster is the best creature there is. And if it, Tarmogoyf has the fact that it's going for you, like I mentioned in a previous video, that it's from a third set. It's from a set that wasn't opened as much as other sets. It wasn't a highly played card in Standard. This is talking about Tarmogoyf here. So it wasn't hoarded. So you have that going for Tarmogoyf. There's a lot more Snapcasters in the world than Tarmogoyfs, but the thing is, I think personally there's more demand for Snapcaster right now than there is for Tarmogoyf. Now the numbers right now are reflecting a little bit different, but there will come a time when enough new players get into the format and there's going to be no surplus of Snapcasters. As soon as the surplus of Snapcasters is snapped up and sold out and traded out, then you're going to get to the point where it's scarce, just like Tarmogoyf is scarce. And when we hit that point, then Snapcaster's price is really going to move. I mean, Innistrad is not that far removed from being in Standard, so there's still quite a few out there. So anyway, I have the projected price at $80, but in my mind, I will be holding my Snapcasters long past $80. I'm just putting a conservative mark on there. I mean, Confidant got up to $65, $70 range, and Snapcaster is a way better card than Confidant, in my opinion. I think Snapcaster on the power levels is equivalent or better than Tarmogoyf. So I can see a world where Snapcaster gets up to $150, $160. because it's played in Legacy more than Tarmogoyf is played in Legacy. Think about that. Snapcaster's played probably as much as Tarmogoyf in Modern, but in Legacy it's played way more than Tarmogoyf. So I'm really excited to see where Snapcaster's going to go. I really think this is a can't-miss card. Now, as a reminder, these are my opinions, and you're going to have to make your own judgments on that. But I expect a world where Snapcaster eventually is, man, I really see it at least being 120, and I can see it being 150, 160. So I still think they're good buys. I think they're good buys all the way up to about $60. There's still money to be made after that. The problem is that the entry on Snapcaster is so high. That's why it's number 15 on my list. I think the potential on it is good, even though I have my growth potential kind of low there. That's just because the market was so heavy with them right now. But I have it low because it costs so much to get in on this card, which you'll see on number 11 is the total reversal. It's a very cheap card, but I think it has a super high return on it. Anyway, now also the foils. The foil cards, the foil Snapcasters, you can get for $120 right now on eBay. And just to give you an idea, Tarmogoyf is the regular version is $200, and the foil Tarmogoyf is about $800. So you could probably get them a little cheaper on eBay, but anyway, I can see Snapcaster being at least a $300 foil in the future, and even as much as $500. I don't think it's going to get up to $800 like Tarmo did, but I can see $500 on it. So if you've got the money, or if you've got the resources to trade, I think Snapcaster foils are also very solid, very hot. And I mean, they could get $600, $700, but I think they're pretty safe to go to $300. So anyway, that's Snapcaster. Spent a lot of time on it. It's a just amazing, great choice of a card. So let's move on to number 14. Number 14 is foil Murderous Cut. The regular Murderous Cuts are also a decent buy, but specifically I'm going to talk about Murderous Cut, which is an uncommon from Khans of Tarkir. There's actually 2 Khans of Tarkir cards on my list right here on this 11 through 15 list, so got another one coming. Stability on this guy I have at 5 because he straight out kills a creature for a black mana. The only drawback is that you can't quite do him on turn 1, but when you're trying to curve out on turns 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and use your mana really efficiently, he basically is a destroy target creature for 1 black mana at instant speed. Now, Murderous Cut is being played in Modern, and it's also being played in Legacy. It's being played as a 1 or 2 of. If there's a lot of delve cards in the deck, then, or a few delve cards in the deck, then it's being played as a 1 of. If there's not many delve cards in the deck, then it's played a 2, and in some cases I've seen a 3 of. So the stability rating's a little low on this guy because he's not a full playset kind of card like Snapcaster or Tarmogoyf or these other cards like that. So that's why his stability is a little bit low. And conversely, his growth potential though is 7 because he has room to be in all formats. He has room to be as a potential 1 of or 2 of in sideboard for vintage. He has potential to be played in splashed in tons of legacy decks and tons of modern decks. Blue is pretty healthy right now in modern, but black is actually decently healthy too, and there could be a time where black comes back in full force in modern and has a bigger presence. If it does, then Murderous Cut will jump even more. Now, it is an uncommon, and like I said, I do like uncommons in investing. Right now you can get them for $4.50. So I scooped up a playset about a month ago, and I got them I think at about $4 a piece. So there's a little movement on them. This is going to be a slow moving investment, so it's not going to be like jumping right out of the gate when it rotates out of standard, although it seems like there's going to be a quick rotation on these guys. But because of the spring 2016 set. These guys will be rotated out. But if this were a 4 of, we would see a lot more movement. Now, I can see Murderous Cut going to about $15, but it's going to take a little bit longer time to get there. I think it's going to take about 4 years to get there. But the thing is, like right now, you can get these in trade because these are a standard card. You can get these at trade for probably a pretty reasonable price. You're not going to get them as throw-ins, but you can probably get a sweetened price on these right now. The one good thing it has for it is, yes, Murderous Cut is getting played in standard right now. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's also not getting super heavy play right now in the format. It's also being played as a 1 or 2 of index, just like it is in Modern and Legacy. And being played in Legacy is a big boost. You'll notice a lot of the cards from here on out are going to be cards that see play in Legacy as well as Modern, and that's what really helps drive a lot of the prices on these. So it has really good investment. Now, I also think that the regular versions of Murderous Cut are good buys too. Right now, you can get them for like 50 cents. Now, these you can easily get as throw-ins if somebody has them in a binder. A lot of people don't have them in the binder because it's just an uncommon, but you can get these guys for 50 cents, and I think long-term these are going to be a $3 uncommon easily, maybe even as much as $6 uncommon, to be honest with you. I just put 3 on there. I was going to put $6 down for the projected price, but then I was like, well, they're only getting played as 1 and 2 of, so I'm going to cut it in half because only about half as much is getting played, and just go conservative, and that's still 500% return on investment. If I see these in a binder, I'm going to make a mental note. Every time I see this and every time I'm pulling off a trade, I'm going to try to get this as a throw-in. So, throw a Murderous Cut or 2 in or something. I'm gonna do something to try to get these as throw-ins, because there'll be a time like like way back in the day when Ravnica City of Guilds was out, I did the same thing with remands. Throw remands in. Now remands are like $12 a piece, and so basically as throw-ins, it's just like 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, it's like here's $12, here's $12, here's $12. It's like these 4 throw-ins are now $50. So you need to take advantage of that and try to get these as throw-ins in your set and your trades. All right, so there's Murderous Cut. Fine card number 13. Here we go, another Khans of Tarkir, uncommon. Monastery Swiftspear. Now, about 2 months ago, this was a very much sought after card because before Treasure Cruise was banned in Modern and Legacy, the blue-red burn Swiftspear free mana spell deck was just all the rage, and so Monastery Swiftspear really benefited from those cards, and the foils on these were trading a lot higher, but we'll get to that in just a second. I actually like the foils and the regular versions of these guys, and there's a couple of reasons why. One, alright, let's look at stability real quick. Alright, so stability in this guy's 5, and I would have had this higher, but Red has a history of printing really good 1-drops, and so every few years it seems like there's a good 1-drop that comes around, and sometimes it replaces the previous 1-drop that was really popular. So a few years ago in Zendikar, we had Goblin Guide. When Goblin Guide came out, it actually wasn't that heavily touted. It was Goblin Guide was just like a $4 card when it was out, and then it became the de jure 1-drop for Red in Modern, and it shot to $20, where it's at right now, $20. So there's a world where Monastery Swiftspear gets outclassed by a different 1-drop in the future. But right now, I think it's the best 1-drop in Red in Modern. And I can see where this card becomes even more playable over time, because as there's other cards that are able to be added to the deck that make this better. Even like the free burn spell the one where you pay with life. For the life of me, I'm forgetting the name of it. Anyway, the whole cycle. Anyway, even that, you're trading. You're actually getting some value when you use that with Swiftspear. Stability rating is a little bit lower because I think there could be another card that potentially obsoletes it or decreases its functionality as the premier one drop in the deck. But it does have good growth potential. It is seeing play in Legacy, which is a really, really big thing. You know it's good when it's seeing play in Legacy, and in Legacy it's a lot more abusable than it was in Modern. Now that Treasure Cruise is gone and Dig Through Time is gone, it's not quite as good, but it's still really good, and it's still being played in burn decks. So it's worth holding on to these and picking these up. Right now, the foil versions are $10, and they were like $20 just before the Treasure Cruise bannings. So I think there's been an adverse reaction to the bannings of Treasure Cruise, and the Swiftspear price just fell off. I mean, it just totally got cut in half. I think there was maybe as high as 25 there for a while. I got my play sets, I'll be honest, full disclosure here. I saw Monastery Swiftspears as being great investments, and I picked them up late in 2014. I got them for about 12 to 14, and then they moved all the way up to 20 to 25, and I was like, yay, good call. And then the Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time got banned in Modern, and the price just crumbled. But I didn't overreact in this case. Normally, I tell you, get out, get your money, and put it in something else. But the fact that it was still getting played in Modern, I think there was just a total overreaction to those bannings and that deck falling apart. And the card is really good. The card doesn't need that particular deck, but for some reason, players just dumped their cards, and the price just fell off to $10. So I think it's going to be moving back up because it is played in Legacy, it is played in the burn decks, and you could still play it in a blue-red deck. It's just not quite as good as the previous decks. I still think it's going to move up to $25 or even more in the long term, just because it's played in Legacy, and it is played in Modern too. So I would say I'm going to hold on to mine. I got them, like I said, $12 to $14. I still think they're going to 25 at least. And when they get to 25, I'll kind of take another reanalysis or reevaluate the situation and see, do I think there's some more value in these, or do I need to get them now? Now, I know I preach, take your money and run. But on my projected prices here, as I keep mentioning, these are conservative prices on a lot of these. So in my mind, I might have a higher price on them. But for me just throwing out my opinion of what you should do, I mean, take your money and run, yes. So I could see Monastery getting all the way up to 35. So I just kind of want to see. So what I'll do is, while it's moving up to 25, if I see the play in Legacy or Modern dictates that this price needs to be adjusted to go higher, then I'll do that. And maybe I'll come back and kind of do some reevaluations in another 3 months on these cards and give you some more of my opinions on how that goes so that you can kind of know and see where I'm at. Alright, so the return on investment on that's $150, and just for speculation's sake, I put the regular price right now. It's about $2. You can get these for about $2, the regular versions. I think they're going to go up to $6. Really good uncommons. The regular versions go from $6 to $7, anywhere from $4, $5, $6, $7. And so I really think this guy's going to be a $6 uncommon because he is very playable. So the regular versions of these, I think, are also great to have. So pick them up. Try to get them as throw-ins if you can, because these two Khans of Tarkir cards are in standard. You should always be trying to pick up these really good uncommons. That's a really good way to make money, is to pick up staple uncommons that are going to be in Legacy and Modern. Alright, so let's move on to number 12. Now, number 12, Sliver Hive Lord. Before we get into this, you're going to be like, what? That card's not played in Modern. No, it's not played in Modern, but If you watched my How I Evaluate Cards videos, I mentioned that there was going to be an EDH card in my top 25 because I think the price on it's going to start moving here very soon, and I don't know the timeline that I'm going to get my EDH top 25 cards out, so I wanted to stick this guy on this list. Technically, he is legal to be played in Modern, so technically he's a Modern card in that sense, in the pure sense like that. So anyway, let's get past that. Sliver Hive Lord. He's a stability 5. He probably could be much higher than that. And the only reason I have the stability a lot low because he was printed in M15. Other major slivers that have been reprinted through the years, like Sliver Legion from Future Sight, Sliver Overlord from Scourge, and Sliver Queen from Stronghold, those have never been reprinted. So I could see how Sliver Hive Lord probably is not going to be reprinted. Now, the stability range is a little low because in EDH you have the choice of those 4 slivers as your commander. So as more big boy slivers like that get printed, and it seems like every few years they print one that's like the one of every color. It's 5 mana, one of every color. That's those kind of sliver commanders, you might want to call them. That means there's more options. Now, the price on those previous ones have stayed pretty firm through the years. I'm going to talk about those more in just a minute. But the growth on these guys is pretty good because EDH is definitely a growing format, and there's going to be people wanting these cards. Also, Sliver Hive Lord was from M15, and I don't have the numbers on M15, but based on just my casual observation, it doesn't seem like there was a lot of M15 opened. It wasn't a heavily opened set, so there's probably not as much Sliver Hive Lords out there as, well, there's probably more than there are, definitely more than there were Sliver Queens, and probably more than Sliver Overlord, and probably Future Sight wasn't a heavily printed set. So it's probably the most heavily printed, but it's not way over the top on compared to the other ones. So anyway, these guys are about $7.50. I just bought some of these a week ago. I bought a whole playset a week ago, and I got the playset for $28 and free shipping, so $7 each. Probably can find a similar deal right now on eBay for $7 each on these. I put $7.50 on the current price, but you probably can get a playset for $28. I just got a playset for $28, and I think it's great because I think these are going to head to about the $40 range. The Sliver Queen from Stronghold is $40. The Overlord is $17 from Scourge, but I don't like the Overlord as much as I like the other 3, and the other 3, of course, Queen, which I just mentioned from Stronghold, and the Sliver Legion is from Future Sight, and that one's $40 to $45. So I see this one going to be a $40 card. The Overlord was reprinted in the premium deck, so you know how the little starter decks. So there was one in each of those, of course. Those are $20 each. The Sliver Legion from Future Sight, that's a $100 foil. So foil on Sliver Overlord, Sliver Hive Lord. I think, if you can get foils on these, that would be a pretty good pickup right now. They're $20 for the foils, and I could see the Hive Lord, the foil Hive Lord, moving to be, $60, $70, maybe $80 even. These might be a lot more scarce than I even imagined from M15. I just don't think there was a lot opened, so I don't see a lot in binders. I just see them every now and then people really want to price them high. So in EDH, people love to pimp their decks out. They love the full versions of cards. So foil Sliver Hive Lord seems like a reasonable card to pick up right now, along with the regulars. But I would jump on the regulars. Return on investment 433% if they move to $40. Hey, even if they only go to $30, that is a dang good investment. So grab those. They're sitting in binders. They've probably been sitting in binders, the regular version, for a long time. I don't see them move that much, so you might want to just grab those, start picking up, accumulating them. I definitely would keep my eye out for when I'm trading. I keep my eye out for those. So anyway, let's move off of EDH. Let's move into number 11, which is Thespian Stage. Thespian Stage. You're like, what is this? Thespian Stage. Now, this is kind of like Sliver Hive Lord. Technically, it's a modern card because it's playable in modern, but this is more of a legacy card. But I wanted to stick this on here now. This is from Gatecrash, and right now you can get, well, we'll get into price just a second, sorry. So stability rating, it's low because I could see this maybe getting reprinted one of these days. I think there'll probably be, I'm not sure how they're going to get Shocklands back into the environment. My theory is that they were going to try to cycle them back through the environment every 5 to 6 years. So I don't know if we're going to just have to keep going back to Ravnica every time we do it. But anyway, Thespian Stage is it's $1. Stability rating is low because I think potential reprint, or there could be another card that obsoletes this card. There is Vesuva, which I'll talk about in just a second. But the growth potential in this guy is 9. I have it really high, 9 out of 10, because lands are really great investments in Magic in general. So I see this guy being played in some quasi combo decks. He is played in Legacy. He is played in the lands deck in Legacy, and people are playing him with Dark Depths. People are playing him with Glacial Chasm from Ice Age. People are crop rotating to get this card and use it immediately to get some crazy land effect. And the reason why I have this at number 11 so high, you're like, how do you have Thespian Stage above Sliver Hive Lord and Snapcaster Mage and Shocklands and Scavenging Ooze and Thoughtseize and all these other cards? Well, the reason is because they're only $1. I have a big stack of Thespian Stage, to be honest with you. I don't have a count on them. I just know that, like, every now and then, for like the past year, I'll buy like a couple playsets. Like, I'll buy 8 of them here, and they're $1, and they were as cheap as like 50 cents like a year ago. So I could get a playset for $2. So I could get 2 playsets for $4, and I mean, man, they're already doubled in price. And you're like, yeah, but it's only 50 cents. I'm like, yeah, but maybe I own 60 of them. So here's the deal, though. I think this has potential to move to be an $8 to $12 card, which is a crazy return on investment. The parallel I have to this card is Vesuva, which I mentioned. And Vesuva is a $15 card right now. The foil is $21. So I really like this card. The foil Thespian Stage is going for about 12 right now. Now, here's an interesting thing. If you pay attention to Magic Finance or cards and how cards relate, the regular version relate to the foil version. When this is normally, here's how I observe it. When you have a foil version of a card that's really not played very much or not played at all, you have usually a ratio of 1 to 2. So, for instance, if the card is worth 50 cents, the full version might be $1. Okay, so that's a 1 to 2 ratio. Now, if you have good played cards, good playable cards, that ratio starts going from 1 to 2 to 1 to 3. And the better the card is, the ratio starts going up higher, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. It's not always exactly that way, but I mean there's some exceptions to that, whatnot. But in general, the higher the play of the card is, the more bigger difference in the ratio. Thespian Stage ratio is 1 to 12. Okay, so that's telling me something. That's telling me that if foil versions of this card are selling for $12 and you can get the regulars for $1, that there's a giant margin between those two prices. it shouldn't be 1 to 12. It should be 1 to 3, 4 at the most. So like even if you look down here at Snapcaster, that's a 1 to 3 ratio. The regular version is $40. The full is $120. It's a 1 to 3 ratio. So, and then here, look at Monastery Swiftspear. The regular is $2. The full is $10. That's a 1 to 5 ratio. So that tells you that the regular version should be higher in price. And that one is due to move. Now on Thespian stage, it's 1 to 12. So that tells me that the regular version is way undervalued right now. And probably because it's not too long removed from the format. But I can see Thespian stage moving up. You know, even if I'm wrong, even if it doesn't hit $12 or $8, if it only hits $6 or $5, hell, even if it just hits $4, well, for me, I got in at 50 cents. But even at $1, that's a 300% return on your investment. And the reason why I love this card at number 11 is because it's so cheap to get into this card. $1, just $1 to get into this card. Heck, here's another thing. On trade binders, people probably don't even put these in their trade binders, but if they do, these are easy throw-ins that you get on a trade that's eventually going to become probably a $4 or $5 card. Now, I could be totally wrong. It could never hit that. Maybe $1 is the highest price it ever gets, okay? But if I'm wrong and it stays at $1, it's $1. Who cares? You know, so remember I told you, you don't have to hit home runs and everything. You don't have to win on everything. Just don't lose. You're not going to lose. This is played in Lands deck and Legacy, so it's going to have some value. As long as it's played in that deck, then it's going to hold its value. As long as it gets matched with Dark Depths or, heck, I've seen it in some Tron decks before, or the Post decks also. I've seen a few. So I really think there's sky's the limit on this card. I mean, I think that you could really make a lot of money on this card. But you also have to be willing to take a chance. You have to be willing to take a chance on this card. This is one of those cards that I absolutely love to invest in because the upside on this is so humongous, but the downside is very little. I mean, just it's a rare. It's going to hold its dollar value, at least, at the very minimum. So even if I'm totally 100% wrong on this guy, you're really just not going to lose money on it because, I mean, it's $1. I mean, it's just $1, man. So anyway, I love that card. I have a friend of mine I've been telling pick up these, and he's been picking up some. So we'll see if I'm right. Who knows? I'm not right about everything. I know on Twitter people love to eat you alive. If you're not 100% right on everything, then you don't know anything, or that's the opinion. But people just love to hate. People love to bring other people down. So hope you're not that way. I hope you look for the positive in people and look for the good in people, and don't live your life being a hater and hating on people and trying to bring people down, because that just means that you're a down person. So, all right. Anyway, this has been Rob with MTG Investor. We're going kind of long on this video, so apologize about that. Spent a lot of time with Snapcaster. So anyway, one last thing I want to throw in on Murderous Cut. Murderous Cut, I kind of parallel it a lot to Slaughter Pact. Slaughter Pact is kind of like a free spell. Well, it is free to cast. You just have to pay for it later. And that's a $10 rare and a $30 foil. Of course, Murderous Cut is uncommon. I forgot to mention this earlier when I was talking about Murderous Cut, the Slaughter Pact parallel to it. So I don't see it hitting Slaughter Pact prices, but it's just kind of a card. When I was talking about earlier in my evaluation videos, try to find cards that parallel this card, and you can see like the path and the trend of very similar cards. So anyway, I want to throw that in there before I cut off. So anyway, this has been Rob. We're up to 54 subscribers already. Man, I love it, I love it, I love it. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and commenting. I really appreciate it. You guys have a good one, and peace out and happy trading, guys.